So today what I was thinking, we would work our way into standing pigeon. We might have done that last week, and then standing pigeon you can add a little twist. I'll show you a twist in standing pigeon, and also you can get into a hand balance, and that's called flying pigeon, and I'll show you those. It's a challenge. If you don't want to do those, you could try crow instead of the flying pigeon, or whatever. Also, I'm going to use the blocks a little bit more. If you don't have a block, no worries, but there's a few benefits for using blocks. It helps to know how to engage the muscles when you're in downward facing dog and in bridge, for instance. And also, I'm not sure if I showed you this. Quite often I like to lie on blocks. I've just got one regular block and one skinny block, but you can, typically I would use two regular blocks, but I'm going to use this block for my head. I'm just going to show you this, and I'm going to bring the other block behind my back, and it's going to be lengthways, high up the back, and basically we're going to lie on the blocks. So basically it's lengthways, you're lying on the block, and it's almost like you're trying to hug the block with the shoulder blades. So I place them on the mat like this. I lie on the block, and I reposition the block under my back, so it's pretty high up. And then I just rest my head on the other one, which is half height. You're keeping the sit bones down and bringing the arms either side. So it's like Shavasana, but you're getting more opening of the ribs and the collarbone, that kind of thing. So this is really nice, and I can feel my shoulder blades around the block, and it should be very comfortable. The block shouldn't be digging into the back. Sometimes people get the block a little bit too low down and it's uncomfortable. So that's a nice thing to do with blocks. If you don't have blocks, I recommend you get two of these, the bigger blocks. The firmer the better. Some are squidgy. Another thing with blocks, while we're talking about blocks, is in downward facing dog you can put them between the legs. You can squeeze the block, and let me just show you what I mean. When you're standing, if you have the block pretty high up and it's this direction, so it's the skinny direction between the legs, and you can squeeze the block, and you can move the block backwards and forwards. So if I turn my legs out, the block is coming forward, and if I squeeze, I don't know if you can see that, I can get that block to move back, and that's giving you an internal rotation of the legs, and that's what we want in downward facing dog. So if you have a block, put it between the legs, pretty high up, come onto your hands and knees. If you don't have a block, just come onto your hands and knees anyway, and just pretend you have a block. You come into downward facing dog, and then you're going to squeeze that block and try and get that block to go back rather than forward. So that's going to activate the legs. And what happens is, because you're doing an internal rotation of the legs, you're getting more broadness across the upper back. So this is good for the back as well. So I'm really squeezing that block. And then we come down. Another thing with blocks is if when you're doing bridge pose, like this, what happens is people come up, remember the gaze is towards the ceiling, but the tendency, if you just relax the hips, the legs splay out. But if you have a block between the legs, you can squeeze that block and it keeps the legs parallel. And it makes you work those muscles, engaging those muscles, and you just work the arms underneath, pushing the arms into the ground like this. So that's another one to do. If you have a block, use the block. It's in bridge. In downward facing dog, use the block from time to time. Another thing in bridge, we do this quite a lot. We do a restorative bridge. So this time the block is half height, or you can have it full height, and you can just do a restorative bridge. I'm going to put it into full height like this. It's just underneath the sacrum, and then you can bring the legs up, so you've got a bit of an inversion like this. If it's a squidgy block, you might have to hold it. If it's a firm block, it's pretty stable. So those are nice things about blocks, and also they're useful when you come into poses like Trikonasana, triangle pose, or extended side angle pose. Okay, so we'll use the block from time to time if you have one. So as I say, we're going to work our way to flying pigeon, and we'll use the block when we're in standing pigeon before we get into flying pigeon. But first, let's just come into a seated position, resting the back of the hands on the knees, creating a circle with the thumb and the index finger. And just close the eyes. Focus on the breath. Relax the shoulders, the face. Get tall. Chin parallel to the ground or slightly tucked, head back. And start taking deeper breaths, inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Let's inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Inhale for a count of 3 or 4. Exhale a bit longer for a count of 4 or 5. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Keep going at your pace. This is a relaxing kind of breath. Brings down the stress, the tension. If you feel yourself getting stressed or anything, I don't know, just sort of try and do a little bit of inhales, long inhales through the nose, exhales through the mouth. See if that helps. Okay, regular breathing, and we're going to work on the neck a little bit. We're going to bring the right ear to the right shoulder. Just letting the weight of the head stretch the neck out. And then we're going to keep that side stretch, but bring the head a little bit forward. Just finding different areas to stretch. And then we're going to bring the head backward. Inhale the head up to center, exhale over to the other side. You're trying to keep the shoulders soft. You're not forcing the head down, you're just letting the weight of the head do the work for you. Keep the side stretch, head comes slightly forward. And then head backward. We inhale up to center. We turn the head over one shoulder. Trying to keep both shoulders facing forward, we're just turning the head. Inhale back to center, exhale, we turn the head in the other direction. And then we inhale to center, chin to chest, and then we slowly bring the head back up. Work on the shoulders, both together, one at a time, whatever feels good. I'm bringing the shoulders forward, up, back and down, up and down, opposite direction, just trying to loosen up there a little bit. So in the standing pigeon, we want open shoulders, we want open hips, A lot of weight on the wrists. If you've got any wrist issues, then I would avoid flying pigeon. So it's good to always to warm up, so we do the pose towards the end of the class. Bit of shoulder work beforehand, and hip work is always good. Gets us ready for that pose. If you've got open hips, open shoulders, pretty well everything open, and you've got the strength, you can do chaturanga and crow, then flying pigeon. You could probably get into flying pigeon. It's not an easy pose. Another thing with the block, back to the block. In Dolphin Pose, a block between the hands is useful. So I sometimes have the block like this. I've got my thumb and index finger around the block. And I've got my elbows in under the shoulders. So it's like this. Block is down, low height. You come onto the forearms, so the knees are underneath the hips, the elbows are underneath the shoulders, no wider than the shoulders. And then I'm bringing my thumb and index finger around the block. And the benefit of the block here, it stops the hands coming together. It stops the elbows going apart. And then you can bring the hips up and the hips back. This into Dolphin. In Dolphin, I keep the knees bent. So the classical way of Dolphin is the forearms on the ground like that. If you don't have the block, maybe you just bring the palms together like this. It makes it Dolphin a little bit easier. If you ever do an inversion from Dolphin, Pinchmarasana, the forearm inversion, a block is useful. It keeps the distance between the hands correct, and you can just kick up and you can do an inversion, but I'm not going to do that today. Block to one side, come onto your hands and knees, cat-cow. Inhale, belly down, head up. Exhale as you round the back and tuck the chin. Inhaling into cow, exhaling into cat. Inhale, exhale. Take it slow, getting that movement starting from the base of the spine up into the neck. It's like a wave motion. And this is good. The back should feel good. The back should be happy with this one. And this helps to get a bit of space between the vertebrae, oil those joints. And then we come into Sphinx. Elbows under the shoulders. Make fists with the hands. Tuck the toes. And you come into the forearm plank. Hips not too high, not too low. You're looking directly at the mats. You're pushing forearms into the ground, so the shoulders, you're not sinking between the shoulder blades. We bring the feet a little bit closer to each other. We bring one leg up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Other leg. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We come into a forearm plank. So in the forearm plank, I've pivoted on my elbow, so my hand is pointing to the side of the mat, and I bring the other arm up. Just like regular plank, top foot can be down or the bottom knee can be down, or you can bring the top leg up if you want a little bit more challenge. And you're breathing. If that top hand nicely lined up with the arm, we come back into forearm plank. We pivot on the other elbow, side plank other side. Help with the legs if you need to, or bring the top leg up. And we're back into forearm plank, and we come all the way down into Sphinx. And then rest the head on the mats for a breath or two. Hands under the shoulders. Walk the knees in. Okay, dolphin. Again. So with the block if you want. So the block is this way on the mat. You bring in the hands, the thumb and the index finger around the block. The palms are on the ground. Elbows are on the ground. So if you notice, my elbows are underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, and I keep it that way. Tuck the toes, hips up. I don't walk the feet back. My shoulders are a little bit too far forward, so I'm going to bring them back. Opening the shoulders. Looking between the legs. You're breathing. This is a nice shoulder opener. Take a breath. Use the breath. Inhale. Exhale. You try and straighten out a little bit more. I keep the knees bent. That helps to keep the back neutral more easily. So I usually keep the knees bent in this pose, but you can straighten the legs if you want. And then we bring the hands down. We come onto our hands and knees. If you have a block, you bring it between the legs. Tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Squeeze the block, try and push the block back, and take a few breaths here. And if you want, you can keep hold of the block between the legs as you come into plank, chaturanga, up dog, down dog. Knees down, put the block to one side, back into down dog. Walk forward between the hands. Inhale halfway up, exhale folding forward, head relaxed, knees bent. We come all the way up and then into mountain. Half salute. Inhale, sweep those arms up. Exhale as you fold forward and down. Inhale halfway up. Exhale, we fold forward again. Inhale, we come all the way up. Exhale, mountain. Use that core. Engage those muscles as you go down and come up. Inhale, reach up, try and touch the ceiling. Look up. Exhale, you're hinging forward and down. Inhaling halfway up, trying to get the back flat. Exhale, we fold forward again, relaxing the head. Inhale, breath, core brings us up. Exhale, mountain. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, folding forward and down. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, we fold forward. Inhale, we come all the way up. Exhale, mountain. One more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, we come up. Interlace the fingers. Keep the fingers interlaced. Point the index finger towards the ceiling. Reach towards the ceiling. Side stretch. Leaning over to one side. You're looking up towards the ceiling. You're trying to keep the whole body in one plane. One shoulder, no forward than the other shoulder. You're breathing, you're going deeper on the exhale. Inhale, reach up. Exhale over to the other side. Inhale, we come up. We bring the arms either side. And then behind us, interlacing the fingers. We bend the knees. We hinge forward, resting the belly on the legs. As we start bringing the arms up towards the ceiling. Head is totally relaxed. Be kind to the shoulders on this one. Just try and loosen up. Let that tension melt. And see if you can go a little deeper if it feels good. And then we keep the knees bent as we roll back up. Sweeping the arms up again. Inhale. Exhale. Into mountain. Okay, so we're going to go into a few sun salutations. We'll do some lunges. So we come to the front of the mat. We inhale into chair pose. Exhale, folding forward and down. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, we plant the hands. We walk into plank. Knees down, chin, chest forward and down. Inhaling into cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. We bring the right leg up to the ceiling, extended down dog. And on the exhale, we sweep that foot forward, back, knee down. And we come into a low lunge. If this bothers the knee, you can fold the mat, get a little bit more padding. Arms up, give you a little bit of extra quad stretch. We bring the hands down. We come back into plank. Knees down, chin, chest forward and down. Inhaling into cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. We inhale the left leg up. And on the exhale, we sweep that foot through, back knee down. We're in a low lunge other side. We hold it for a breath or two with the hands on the knee. And then maybe bring the arms up, looking up. And then we come back into plank. We hold plank, 3 breaths. Don't drop the hips. Don't drop between the shoulder blades. Keep the chin tucked. Breathe. So from here, look at the hands. See if you can rotate both of the hands outward, bringing the elbows in closer. Knees down, chin, chest forward and down. Inhaling into cobra, elbows bent, shoulders down, tuck the toes, exhale, downward facing dog. Look forward, walk forward between the hands. Inhale halfway up, exhale folding forward, knees bent. We come back up and then we come into mountain. High lunges. Inhale, chair. Exhale, folding forward and down. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, we plant the hands, plank. Chaturanga or knees, chin, chest to ground. To get into chaturanga, again, we try and turn both hands out. Elbows stay in. We bring the whole body forward. We drop the elbows to 90. We inhale into upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg up. Exhale, we sweep that foot through. Back knee stays high. We come into a high lunge. Different to warrior one, because both feet are facing in the same direction. If you want that back knee down, go for it. Breathe. Actually, let's everyone bring the back knee down. Let's add a twist. So we slowly lower that knee. We bring the left arm onto the outside of that right leg. I'm trying to get a little bit of leverage here. Palms together, right elbow up towards the ceiling. And if you want to add a crescent twist, we bring the back knee off the ground. Breathe. We lower the knee. We come into plank. Chaturanga or knees, chin, chest to ground. Inhaling into cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale the left leg up. Exhale, you sweep that foot through. Back knee stays high if you can, and if you want, arms come up into crescent. High lunge. And then let's lower the knee and come into a twist. I can't remember if we brought that back knee off the ground in the twist or not, never mind. Let's bring the knee up. Crescent twist. I think we did this. We bring the hands either side of the front foot. We come into plank. So what happens a lot is people try chaturanga, they just drop. If you watch if I drop, my elbows go out. That puts a lot of pressure on the shoulders. That's why I tell people to try and turn the hands out, bring the body forward, and then come down, and then up dog. Keep those elbows in, keep those shoulders safe. If you don't like chaturanga, you do plank, knees down. You're still trying to turn the hands out, you bring the whole body forward and down, and then you come into cobra. Make it easy. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take about 3 or 4 breaths. We look forward, walk forward between the hands. Inhale halfway up. Exhale as you fold forward, knees stay bent. We're back in chair, and then we come all the way up. Inhale into chair. Exhale, folding forward and down. Inhale halfway up. Exhale, we plant the hands. We're in plank. Chaturanga or knees, chin, chest to ground. Inhale into cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg up. Exhale, you sweep that foot through, back knee down. We're back in a low lunge. Keep a block handy if you have a block. So this is stretching out the front of that back leg. That's where I feel it most. You're getting a nice quad stretch. You're stretching the psoas. Let's stretch out the hamstring of this front leg. So I'm going to walk that foot forward an inch or two. I'm going to go back and forward into lunge and then hamstring stretch. So take an inhale, exhale, we straighten that front leg. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, we extend. Inhale. Exhale. We're going to hold the extension. You're going to walk the hands a little bit closer. This is sometimes people can't get the hands to the ground. This is where 2 blocks are useful. You can have your hands on the blocks. Ideally, this front leg is straight, but you're trying not to hyperextend the knee, and but you're activating this foot, this right foot, toes up towards the ceiling, and you're getting a stretch at the back of the leg. The more you bring the whole body forward, hinging forward, the more you're going to feel that stretch. Don't make it too intense. Lizard. We do lizard from time to time. You bring the forearms onto the inside of the foot. If you can't get all the way down, the block is handy. You can just bring the forearms onto the block. Half height, low height, and if you're happy with the forearms all the way down, you can do that. If I don't have the block, sometimes I bring the forearms around that front foot. You probably need to be able to do this pose with the forearms down if you want to get into the Flying Pigeon Pose. Okay, you'd forgotten we were going to get into that, right? Let's switch to the other side. Plank. Turn the hands out. Bring the body forward. Chaturanga. Inhaling into up dog. Look up. Engage that core as you exhale into downward facing dog. Inhale the left leg up. Exhale, we sweep that foot through. Back knee down. We're in the low lunge. So this front foot glued to the mat, but you're trying to pull that foot in. We bring the hands either side of the front foot. We walk that foot forward an inch or two. Inhale. Exhale, extending the leg. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, extend. Inhale. Exhale. Hold the extension. Walk the hands in a little bit closer. Find a nice Hamstring stretch, nothing too intense. Activating that left foot. Try not to hyperextend the leg. So although I'm trying to, if the leg is straight, I'm trying to activate the quads, but not intensely. So I'm trying not to hyperextend. I don't hyperextend actually, which is fortunate. If you're a hyperextender, you have to be more careful in some of the poses. Okay, into lizard. With or without the block. I'm going to start with the block. Block is half height inside the foot. I just hang out here. It's always nice to go into a pose gradually. So, you know, even if you can get all the forearms down, I think it's good. It's good for you, good for the body, just to take your time. Use the block first. Lower the block, a little deeper. Let the body get used to things. And then, if you don't need the block, and then you can come all the way down. So note that this opening of the hip is similar to how we open the hip when we're doing Happy Baby, right? So let's work our way to Happy Baby, and we'll do Reclined Pigeon sooner or later. Plank, Chaturanga, Up Dog, Downward Facing Dog. Hang out in Downward Facing Dog, bring the feet nice and close to each other, walk the dog, bending one knee as you straighten the opposite leg. We look forward, we walk forward between the hands. Inhaling halfway up, exhale folding forward, knees stay bent. We're back in chair, and then we come all the way up. Let's do a chair twist. So the chair twist, we come into chair, and we'll twist over to our left. So I'm going to bring my right arm to the outside of the left leg. I'm pushing my left hand into the leg so I can get a little bit more leverage, and then the palms together, elbow up towards the ceiling. And then we can do the twist in the other direction. This is getting us ready for the standing pigeon twist. And we come back into chair, and then we come all the way up. Tree. Let's balance on the left foot, right foot is inside, above or below the knee. You're activating that standing leg, engaging those quads, but you're not hyperextending. You're relaxing the shoulders. Gaze at something not moving, arms come up whenever you're ready. This is going to open the hip. It's going to strengthen that standing leg, calf muscles in particular, the quads, the ankle. It's going to help with the balance. We bring the hands down. We bring the legs down. We shake everything out. Get nice and loose. Other side, you're on the right foot, left foot inside the leg, you're lower above the knee. You're getting a hip opener. You're strengthening that standing leg. You're not hyperextending. And whenever you're ready, arms come up. We come down. Extend the arms to the side. I've been doing eagle more often, Garudasana. Feet are parallel, feet are together. You bring the right arm under the left arm, back of the hands parallel, or the fingers of the left hand inside the palm of the right hand, or is it the other way around? Yeah, fingers of the right hand inside the palm of the left hand. Right arm is underneath the left arm, which means the right leg comes on top. You squeeze the legs, you try and hook the foot. You center, you lean back, touch the nose with the thumb, and then you bring the arms up and breathe. We come out of the pose, we shake out again. We extend the arms to the side. We bring the left arm under the right arm. And we get the fingers of the left hand on the inside of the palm of the right hand, or the hands parallel. We're in chair. We bring the left leg on top. We squeeze those legs. We try and hook that foot. There we go. It's nearly there. That's it, got it. Then I center the arms. I try and touch the nose with the thumb. And then I'm bringing the arms up and breathe. And you come out of the pose. Just do what you can. We're all different. Don't struggle too much. Stay safe. Okay, we're going to come onto our backs on the mat. And we're going to do Happy Baby. That gives us a bit more of a hip opening, and we're going to do Reclined Pigeon. So Happy Baby first. You pull the knees in, and as I say then, the opening in Happy Baby is similar as it was in Lizard with regard to the hips. You're keeping the head on the ground, you're keeping the tailbone down. I'm holding onto the feet, and I'm trying to get the legs, the knees a little bit closer to the ground. The legs are pretty wide, the legs are outside the ribs. Try and work that tailbone closer to the ground. It's almost like you're trying to pull the lower back off the ground. It's not going to happen, but that's the intent. A lot of arm strength. And then take hold of the big toes. So I've got my hand palms facing each other. My index fingers, first two fingers, index finger and middle finger and thumb around the big toe. And then I'm trying to straighten the legs. I'm pulling the shoulders down. I'm pushing the heels out. A lot of people struggle with this. They can't straighten the legs. No worries. Just go as far as you can. Keep within your comfort zone. You're pushing the heels out. Remember, pull those shoulders down. Don't tense up those shoulders. Try and get the tailbone closer to the ground. This gives you a stretch down the inside of the legs probably. We come out. We take hold of the back of the legs, we lift the head up, and we rock ourselves up into boat. You can keep hold of the legs, you can keep the knees bent, you can straighten the legs, you can open the chest, and you breathe. We slowly lower, so the legs are straight, an inch or two off the ground, maybe more, hands are behind the head. You're pushing the lower back into the ground like crazy, abs of steel, for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We slowly lower. We inhale, and on the exhale we go. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, reclined pigeon. Figure 4. Thread the needle. Lots of names. Outer of the left foot on the right leg. You take hold of the back of that right leg. You activate that left foot. You pull in the legs in. You're pushing that forearm against the inside of that left leg. Maybe if you want to get a deeper stretch. And then see if you can rock from side to side. Just giving the lower back a little bit of a massage. If you feel you can go deeper and you've got open hips, what you could do is you could hug that leg that's close to you. So I've got my left foot on the inside of my right elbow and my left leg on the inside of the other arm, and then I'm just pulling the legs closer, getting into a deeper stretch. Maybe this is too much for you. If it's too much, don't do it. And you can rock again. And then we're going to switch to the other side. You bring in the outer of the right foot onto the left leg. You take hold of the back of that left leg. You activate that right foot. You pull in the legs in, tailbone down, forearm against the inside of that right leg. Rock from side to side a few times. And then if you want to go a bit deeper, and you can go deeper, you can hug the leg that's closest to you, and you can get into a bit of a deeper stretch. Again, rocking is nice. So the next phase on this one, for those that are super flexible, would be to bring that foot behind the head, but we're not going to do that. Hang on to the back of the legs, rock yourself up. But what we are going to do, we're going to come into Baddha Konasana. We're just going to rock from side to side. Now this is another case where a block might be useful. If you find you've got really, your hips are really not open, you've got your knees up like that, your back is rounded, then sitting on the block is really useful. Getting the hips higher makes it a little bit easier. So the back, we're trying to get that back neutral. So we're not rounding the back, we're bringing that back neutral if you can. So we're sitting nice and tall. I'll rock. And then I start bringing the knees closer to the ground. And again, we're using the breath. Inhale. And then exhale, letting those knees come down on the exhale. Eventually the legs are going to come all the way down to the ground, and you're going to feel this opening the inside of the legs, the inside of the hips. We come out, and what we're going to try next, and this might be a bit of a struggle for some of you. So if this is a struggle, what you could do instead, you could just do an easy pose. You could bring one or half lotus. Easy pose, I've got my right foot on the inside of my left leg and the other foot on the top of my calf muscle, that's it. So this is an easy sitting pose. If you can go a little bit deeper, I'm taking my left leg, so the shin is parallel to the edge of the mat that's in front of me, and I bring the other foot on top. So basically I'm stacking the shins, but I'm trying to keep the shins parallel to the front of the mat, and then we're trying to close this gap so you get a little bit more of a hip opener. If you can do this, if you can get this gap disappearing, then you're probably okay to get into lotus. Not that I'm going to do lotus today, but just an FYI. But if you like this and the back is rounded, do not try lotus because it's going to put too much stress on the knee joint. Switch. So I've got my right leg is the lower leg, shin parallel to the edge of the mat in front, outer edge, outer of my left ankle, close to my right knee, and then I just try and close that gap a little bit. When I push down, it's not hurting me, it's not stressing the knee, you know, I can get down easily. You want to be able to get down easily. You don't want to force it down. If it hurts as you push down, you know, release the pressure. Take care of yourselves. Okay, so we've opened our hips as much as we can. We've opened the shoulders. We're ready to fly. Standing pigeon. We're going to take a block. I've done standing pigeon with you. Basically, it's like reclined pigeon, but instead of lying on our backs, we're standing on one foot. We're going to stand on the right foot with the knee bent. Other foot is on top, so we're making this figure 4. We start off just resting the hands on that top leg, top foot is flexed. This is basically standing pigeon. The block is there if you want to go lower, just to help you keep the balance. As I said, start off easy, block at full height. When you're ready, you can go a bit lower and then maybe bring the fingertips to the ground. If you can touch the ground with your fingertips, maybe you can get into flying pigeon. First, let's do standing pigeon on the other side. We're on the left foot, right foot is on top. We rest the hands on that top leg. We bring the hands onto the block. I would start off with full height. Take a breath or two here. Lower the block, breath or two here. And then we bring in the hands down to the ground. Okay, before we do flying pigeon, let me show you a twist. Since we've done lots of twists. We're on the right foot. So standing pigeon, standing on the right foot. So basically, we're going to bring that left elbow onto the inside of that left foot and we bring the palms together. It's a challenge coming into that twist. If you're freaked out by all this, you can just do a regular squat, you can do a regular pigeon. Take care of yourselves. This is like a little bit of free time for everyone. We can do our own thing, but if you want to try this pigeon stuff, you can go for it. Sometimes I lose the balance. Twist on the other side. I'm bringing my right arm just above the elbow onto the inside of my right foot and then coming into that twist. Okay, if you want to try flying, this is an advanced pose. You come into it slowly, just like crow. You're moving your weight so that you can float up. So I'm on my right foot. You need to be able to bring the hands down to the ground, and then you want that left foot on the outside of that right arm as high up as you can. That foot is like an extra hand, it's grabbing that arm. You push the other arm into the leg just below the knee, so you've got really good contact. You bring the hands down and then you lean forward, you're looking up, and then you try and bring that back leg off the ground, grab that arm with the toes, and then you try and extend that right leg and you're flying. That is a challenging pose. Side view, other side. If you want to just try crow instead, or just a squat or pigeon, as I said, go for it. Or you can just watch Crazy Phil. So I'm on the left foot, right foot, foot flexed. I bring the hands down to the ground. So I'm leaning over to my left, trying to get that foot high up the arm. I'm pushing into that leg, so I've got good contact. I push the other arm into the leg just below the knee, so I've got really good contact. I'm grabbing the arm with that right foot. I start leaning forward, I'm looking forward, and then I let that back foot come off the ground. I'm grabbing the arm like crazy, and then I'm trying to straighten the leg into flying pigeon. I'm trying to breathe, and then I come out of the pose. Whew, can't hold it too long. Okay. Yes. You should realize by now that I'm pretty crazy. Okay. Let's do something sensible. Let's come onto our backs. Walk the knees in. Pull the knees in, just rock from side to side. So we're going to go into bridge. If you have a block, you can use the block. Pull the feet in. Keep the gaze towards the ceiling. Feet are parallel. I'm going to put the block, it might be skinny way or halfway between the legs, maybe halfway. And then I'm coming up. I'm squeezing the block. You don't have to use the block. Once you've got up, you start walking the arms in and the shoulders. You keep the gaze towards the ceiling. You're pushing the arms into the ground, the head into the ground. You're breathing and you're squeezing that block. That block will keep those legs parallel. It'll stop those legs splaying out. If you don't have a block, imagine you have one. And you breathe. Keep squeezing that block if it's there. We slowly come down. We remove the block. We come back up. We stick the block underneath the sacrum. Your choice. Restorative bridge. If you'd rather just be in a regular bridge or Shavasana, that's fine. Maybe you want the block at full height. Find a comfy spot. It's right under the sacrum. And then, if you want, you can bring the legs up. So we're getting a little bit of inversion. Even with the legs up, it should be comfortable if the block is in the right spot. If you have a squidgy block, you might need to hold on to the block, especially if it's at its full height. If the legs are up, you bring the legs down, you raise the hips, put the block to one side, extend the legs. Extend the arms over the head, taking a full body stretch. Trying to get as much length as you can. That little caterpillar action, I call it. So you're shifting the hips away from the feet, you're shifting the back away from the hips, and then try to get length in the neck. Just trying to get a little bit of traction there. We take a bit of a side stretch. So next week, this was a tough class today. So next week I'll make it an easy class for you guys. How about that? Then you might come back. And then we stretch out the other side. And then we recenter. We walk the feet in. We take the feet wider than hips, less windshield wide. So we're just taking the knees from side to side. Let's try this. Bring both legs up to the ceiling. 90 degrees between the legs and the torso. Arms either side of you. The arms are out about 45 degrees. Windshield wipe again. Going down about halfway. The arms help you stop you going too far down and help you go down slowly and help you bring the legs back up. So as you take the legs down, start pushing that arm hand into the ground. Let the arms assist. Just going gently from side to side, taking your time, trying to keep that 90 degrees between the legs and the torso. We bring the legs back to center and we slowly bend the knees, hug the knees, and we rock from side to side. We take another full body stretch, legs extended, arms extended over the head. And we come into Shavasana. Bringing the arms either side of you, palms up, eyes closed, totally relax. You deserve this. Moisten the lips. Let's take a couple of deep breaths. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Inhale. Exhale. Regular breathing. Just let yourself sink into the ground, letting every muscle relax, letting the whole body get heavy. If you want to stay in Shavasana longer, go for it. Otherwise, walk the feet in and roll over to one side, keeping the eyes closed. Take a breath or two. And then slowly come into a seated position. So we're just going to do a couple of breaths here, about 3 breaths. I think we'll skip home today since we're running a little bit late. Inhale as the arms come up. Exhale as you bring them down. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Namaste.